Hi there, and welcome to the Healthy Church Podcast. My name is Todd Rhodes. I'm one of the co-founders over at Chemistry Staffing. Thanks so much for joining me today. Today, we're going to start a brand new series. I'm really excited about this. We're calling it the 10 Commandments for Church Staff, okay? The 10 Commandments for Church Staff. These are 10 commandments that I feel like I've learned over my last 30 years in ministry that I kind of wanted to share with you. Think of these 10 commandments as an insurance policy, right? To help you stay on track in your daily ministry, to help you set up some guardrails where they need to be guardrails. And it's really intended to help you maintain a healthy work-life balance, to avoid burnout, to protect you from any ethical or moral lapses along the way. We see those happen almost on a weekly basis in the news. So these 10 commandments will help you, guide you, and make your way through and keep you healthy during your time on a church staff. So let me say this, though. Whenever you hear the word commandments, especially in today's culture, these are not a set of legalistic rules. They're not meant to be burdensome. They all come from Scripture. Not meant to be burdensome, but they are meant to protect you, and they are meant to protect your family, okay? So let's just jump right in. If you're finding that you like this content, you want to make sure you don't miss any of the following 9 commandments, go ahead and hit subscribe. Tell your friends, your fellow staff members as well. Maybe pass on the link to this podcast as well. Commandment number 1. Okay, here we go. Get right into it. Do for others. Commandment number 1 is do for others. The Message says, do for others what you would have them do for you. This sums up the law and the prophets. All right, we know this as what? The golden rule, right? Do for others what you would have them do for you. Okay? So the key word here is empathy. Now, empathy is just the ability to understand and share the feelings of another person. It's a key component of EQ, what a lot of people call EQ, emotional intelligence, and it's essential for building really strong relationships, okay? So the opposite of the golden rule, and maybe this will help you a little bit, the opposite of the golden rule would be do not treat people the way that you do not want to be treated. Now, it should be natural for us, right? Respect, we're talking kindness, we're talking understanding. But if we're not careful, we'll violate this golden rule early and often. And we have every opportunity in the world, whether you're in your church office, whether you're at church on a weekend, in a meeting, or you're in the line at the grocery store. It's really easy to not have empathy and to not follow the golden rule. So let me give you, for each one of these, I'm going to give you a series of red flags, okay? And these are just, they're red flags, right? If you sense that you're doing any of these, it could be an indication that you are not doing for others, that you're in violation of this first commandment here, okay? So the first red flag is if you find that you're neglecting other people's needs, okay? So if you find that there's a consistent pattern of ignoring or minimizing the needs of others, particularly when those needs conflict with personal interests, with your personal interests or your convenience, it indicates that you may be neglecting this commandment, okay? So the first red flag is neglecting other people's needs. The second red flag is if you find that you are harsh or that you're treating people unfair. So harsh judgment or unfair treatment. If someone is regularly harsh in their judgment of others, or if they treat others in ways that they themselves would not want to be treated, it's a clear sign that they're not following the do for others commandment. Now, honestly, a lot of times we have the plank in our eye, we have the log in our eye when it comes to whether our judgments are harsh or whether our treatment is unfair. So you have to really be open to what other people are saying. If somebody comes up to you and says, hey, don't you think that was a little harsh or that was unfair? You need to listen because they're seeing maybe a violation of this do for others commandment for you. Okay, quickly, 2 other red flags here. The third one is self-centeredness. If you frequently find that you're putting your own needs, your own desires, your own preferences before those of others, it may suggest that you're not adhering to this commandment. Again, this is one of those things that's really hard to see in ourselves. You really have to be self-aware. If you find that you're putting your own needs and desires and preferences over others, you might want to do a self-check on that. And then finally, the fourth one is inconsiderate actions. If your actions are taken without considering how they may affect others, it could be a sign of failing to live out this commandment. This might include decisions that impact others without consulting them or neglecting to apologize when you're wrong. Okay? So empathy. Empathy is huge. Empathy is huge. So many problems that we have in our day-to-day ministries and the trajectory of our ministry has to do with empathy and how you're putting yourself in other people's shoes and how you're treating people the way that you would like for them to treat you. This is commandment number 1, and it's really important. That's why it's number 1. It's do for others. Okay? If you have any questions or any comments, you can leave comments right here where you're listening, or you can send me an email at podcast@chemistrystaffing, and I'll be glad to maybe ask one of your questions here if you have a question. And be sure to subscribe. Join us tomorrow. We are going to be talking about commandment number 2, which is practice humility. We'll talk to you tomorrow.